The next speaker is co-chairman of Arise Virtual Solutions. Her name is Angie Selden. Angie had established a fabulous career as a partner at Accenture before coming into executive management with Arise Virtual Solutions. And what Angie and her team have done in fundamental innovation to bring step change to an industry has gotten notice at the highest levels of the U.S. government, where she regularly is invited to Washington to meet with the Obama administration about jobs creation around some of the innovative techniques that they have applied. Very, very exciting speaker, and I want her to come and tell her story. What I gave her in terms of marching orders is tell us your growth story over these last 5 years in particular, and don't hold back, because this story is an outstanding story, and Angie's an outstanding leader and a great speaker. Please welcome Angie Selden, Arise Virtual Solutions.
So much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Storm, and also to the rest of the folks from Frost & Sullivan. We are really honored to be able to share our story with you this afternoon. And before I begin, I'd like to also introduce two of my colleagues who are here today, Karen, who is standing right here, sitting, and now standing, and David. And between the three of us, we will have the opportunity to answer any questions you all might have at the end of the session today, because I've gathered from the day that we'll keep questions to the after session. So what I wanted to spend a few minutes sharing with you is the story of Arise. So first I'd like to say, I'd like to see a raise of hands. How many of you work 1 day a week from home? Okay, keep your hand up if you work more than 3 days a week from home. Okay, so we have a couple people there. And I guess I'm interested from the people who had their hands up, is the work that you do at home the same type of work that you do when you have to go to the office? You say yes, you say no. You say yes. Okay, very interesting. And what society is saying is, now that empowers me to be able to work when I choose to work. I bet if you're working at home, you don't have to raise your hands for this one because we don't want you to snitch on yourself. But if you're working from home, are you working the same hour definition that you would in the office? Probably not. You probably have a personal thing you need to do in the middle of the day. You probably pick up some things at night. And the fact that technology is there helps you determine when, how often, and the kinds of things that you're getting done at home. So that's what we mean when we're saying work is getting done and reinvented in a different way. I have a superior skill set. Perhaps I'm an attorney or I have a technology skill. And I can deploy that skill to not just one company. I can work for multiple companies. I don't need to be employed 40 hours a week to any individual company. I want flexibility in my scheduling. I want to be able to choose where, when, and how often I work. And I want to not be bored. I want to be able to use my skills to make my life interesting, provide for my family, and not be bored. So what's happening as a result is these two needs, along with the advent of technology, along with this atomization of work, the ability to measure outcomes at a very small transactional level, is creating the opportunity now for virtual services to be born. Arise is doing in the contact center space what some of these other companies are innovating in their respective spaces as well. And what we have been able to do is take a company who had 3,000 at-home workers in 3 counties of southeastern Florida in 2005 and build a company that now has 32,000 workers, 3,000 of which are here in the UK, 2,000 of which are in Canada, and the rest in the United States, who 100% are working from home, doing calls, emails, and chat transactions, contact center type work, when they want, how often they want, and every single transaction is atomized. Basically, we measure the outcome of each of those transactions, and we award them compensation for the results they produce on every single one of those transactions. So we lead the industry in the contact center space for virtual services. We're the largest in the world, and have really built and accelerated the growth of the business over the last 6 years by taking advantage of some of these trends that I was talking with you about. Frost & Sullivan has shared with us that virtualization is mainstream and that the largest percentage of growth in outsourcing in the next 3 years is going to be in work at home. Dorman said he wanted the story of Arise, and this, I could stand here, as you can tell, and talk for another 4 or 5 hours on this, but I'll give you the thumbnail. In 97 to 2005, I said we were located in the state of Florida only, and it was a consortium to help disabled people in the state of Florida get work. And 80% of the agents lived there at the time, and nothing was virtualized. Everything was come to our office for training, and as a result, there was no ability for us to scale. What happened is we got a private equity investment, and the professionalization of the business started to grow. We changed the name. In 2008, we launched in the UK, and we implemented solutions that allow our clients to not just use our virtual workers, but to use their own people with our tools working from their home location, if that's a solution they prefer. We call that VTE, or Virtualize the Enterprise. In 2009, when we started, after we had stabilized the operations and reinvented the way the work was done so that everything could be virtualized, then we said, let's accelerate the growth. We focused on delivering this virtualization at scale. We won the largest telecom contract deal in Canada and expanded into our 3rd geography. And we launched the biggest program in the history of the company in 11 weeks. And we added consulting and technology capability to the suite of outsourcing services we offer. And the result, the net result from 2005 to 2011 is that we grew the business 13x. 13x revenue growth in one of the most critical, debilitating economic environments in modern history. And what the people doing the work have the opportunity to do is construct a work schedule and an income for their families that gives them the opportunity to select their hours, to select the clients they work on, just like any of the models I talked about, in Incentive, Axiom, Topcoder. Every one of those environments and every one of those functions gives people the freedom to choose when, how often, and with whom they're working, which in essence is reinventing the social contract that now exists between the worker and the work that needs to get done. So with that, I will turn it back over to Dorman, and thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the invention and the reinvention of Arise. I have a few more slides.